Oh, come on. Let me into my own frunk. Good day, everyone. My name is Scott of Cruisin.geek, and today I'm going to talk about the 4 things I dislike about using my Gallardo on a daily basis. So to start right off, sitting in the car, the first thing that I don't like about using this car on a daily basis is how much, I'd say, the lack of automation that there is in this car. For instance, let's go through this startup procedure I have to do every day. First, after putting my seatbelt on and getting my gloves, I like the gloves since the steering is heavy and I want to protect my steering wheel, so I use leather gloves. Then, with the key inserted, we can turn it to the on position and turn on the car. Now, because this is the e-gear transmission, we need to make sure to push in the sport button, and the sport button will ensure that the clutch doesn't slip as much when it's shifting, so that'll give good clutch life. Then I have to make sure to reach way over to the left side of the dash and push the reverse button. That engages it into the reverse gear and gives me my backup camera. Then remove the brake. It's manual, it's not too bad, and then we can get off. And now once I'm out of the garage, as I already am here, I have to close my garage door and finish backing down my driveway here to the main part of the driveway, which is actually shared with my neighbors here. And then when I get to this point, engage it in first, and now this is when I also have to manually flip out my mirrors. And don't forget, if it was dark outside, I'd also have to manually flip on my headlights, because in this car there's no automation for the headlights. The next thing that makes this car a little bit tough to live with, it's actually something I was not expecting buying a car like this, and that is it's pretty much impossible to use the headrest. Now in my Audi TTS, my Mark II Audi TTS, I got really used to those seats and was able to put my head back like this. And you would think, hey, that headrest looks pretty padded, it's pretty comfy, but the problem is there's 2 main problems. One is, of course, this car has a very stiff suspension, so you will feel, if there's a bump in the road, you'll feel it on your head. But worse than that is there's a weird vibration, and that's because there's a giant V10 engine rumbling about 5 inches from the back of my head there, and that puts this really interesting vibration when you're driving it, and so you can feel that all the way through the seat. And those 2 things combined with the random jerks and then the vibration of the engine, it makes me almost get like a little small headache if I rest my head too long. So I have to keep my head out. Another negative thing about this car, living with it on a daily basis, is the turning radius. Well, I thought my Audi TTS didn't have that great of a turning radius, but that was pretty amazing compared to this. This car having the direct coupling for the all-wheel drive system, when you're going at low speeds in parking lots and trying to turn the car, it's very cumbersome feeling, and it doesn't want to turn. This car, it's funny, this is the only car I've had where the faster you get going, the more comfortable, the easier it is. Because when you're going like 20 miles an hour in this car, it's really tough to move around. When you're going like 60, it barely feels like you're moving. So yeah, that's another thing, is the turning radius and just the turning in the low speed maneuvering, I would say, is definitely interesting with this car. One thing that annoys me about this car, specific to the Gallardo model, is the situation with the boot, or the trunk or front trunk, as some Americans might call it. And the main problem with the Gallardo is, as you can see on the key only has the lock and unlock buttons, so there's nothing to pop the trunk. And even when you unlock the car, there's nothing you can do in the front of the car to open the trunk at that point. The only way to get into the boot in the front is to actually go inside the car in the cabin and bend way down under where there's a manual lever, where a normal hood release for a car that had the engine in the front would normally go, and manually pulling that lever will pop up the boot cover, and then finally you can get into it from that point. And this is just a really frustrating experience if I take this car and I'm even just gonna buy like one small thing from a store or anything where I want to get into there. It makes it very inconvenient, and I really wish there was an automatic popper for that boot. Alright, so now that I talked about those things that do make this car a challenge to live with on a daily basis, I did want to end on a positive note, which is why I bought the car. The reason why I bought this car, it makes up for it completely, which is this. Getting on an on-ramp and punching it to, 5,000 RPM. Wow.